Welcome back to American Controversial. I'm Tiffany Natal alongside Brad Guthrie. Today we have a special guest, Yahya Sultan from the Muslim Student Association. The burning of the Islamic holy book, the Quran, in Afghanistan this past week has elicited a massive outcry for the Muslim world. This act has been condemned and a wave of violence has followed. Yahya, what is your opinion on this subject?
Hello again. Thank you for having me, guys. My opinion on the subject, is really, it's a matter of how you view it in terms of culture. What we see here is that the burning occurred in a garbage can, essentially a garbage can, and Afghan civilians noticed that these Qurans were half burnt in the garbage can. They picked them up. They found out that these were they were burned. They were essentially desecrated in this manner. And it really sends a larger message to American Muslims and Muslims around the world that even after 10 years of war inside Afghanistan, the longest running war in American history, that there are still cultural insensitivities that the U.S. military still hasn't realized, that you can't go and burn a Quran in a garbage can in full view of Afghan civilians and expect nothing to happen. Now, I'm not saying that the killing of innocent people that occurred following this incident, I'm not condoning it. This goes against the very teachings of Islam and Quranic and anything written in the Quranic literature. But it is really a sad testament to the fact that there is no consideration in the sensitivities towards a religion and the culture where the U.S. government, the U.S. military has been in Afghanistan.
So do you feel that those who did this burning should face type of punishment, or do you feel it's okay? Obviously it's not okay, but do you feel they should go through punishment, or how do you think this should be?
Well, see, it's really two sides of the coin. It should definitely be looked into into who authorized it, what essentially went down for this to happen this way, because there is guidelines that NATO follows in terms of burning the Quran, because within Islamic law, to dispose of a Quran adequately and respectfully is to burn it, but you do it in a respectful manner, not in a garbage can. And so NATO forces actually, to dispose of a Quran, would give it to the Afghan administration, and they would dispose of it in that religious manner. So there's a level of understanding. What happened here was that it was thrown in a garbage can, it was lit up, and essentially Afghan civilians saw it, and they were like, how is no one notified about this?
Should there be any understandable teachings, even to the NATO soldiers that are in a region that is dealing with such a sensitive issue? Should they be informed of how to properly dispose such of a historic and such a sanctified or a sacrament to the Holy Quran?
Well, we're going under the understanding that they would already know this information. There's a level of training that U.S. forces and NATO troops would go under training to understand cultural sensitivities being in a foreign land. So they would do well not to disrupt that or aggravate it in any way. As long as it doesn't conflict with their own duties as far as that's concerned.
So regarding retaliation, there's going to be many different types of retaliation that the Muslim community is going to feel against and want to act on against these people, the soldiers who did it, and Americans as one. What do you feel is a proper way to handle this?
Well,
regarding them in the Muslim community, how should they react to this?
Well, see, here's the thing, though. The problem here is that there's a bigger problem, a much bigger problem, where we see that the Muslim world, especially in Afghanistan in particular, where this incident occurred and followed with civilians and servicemen being killed in response to this, there's a large misunderstanding of the teachings of Islam, and there's a large ignorance occurring here, where the desecration of a book. I mean, yes, it's a holy book. We regard it as the Word of God. You know, a universal truth, if you will. But that doesn't transcend or justify the killing of a human being in any way. That if you desecrate a Quran, that you should take a human life. Islam, nowhere in Islam advocates for this sort of action. It's obscene. It's insulting, and it's disgusting.
If I may ask you real quick before we segue to the other areas of the Arab world, do you feel that the U.S. and NATO soldiers are in great risk because of the government is not really on top of the Afghan security forces that are yet seeing what we have over the weekend? Are they in more danger than ever because of this situation?
See, here's the thing: the Quran burning incited a lot of violence, and understandably so, because you're in a world that is in direct conflict with your own cultural views. See, now, if let's say, you know, Pastor Terry Jones in Florida burned the Quran, you know, there would be, you know, understandably lawsuits filed against him. And there would be backlash, you know, trying to get the Justice Department to intervene or the ACLU to intervene, and you know, some type of dialogue started, as opposed to when you go to Afghanistan and you see someone burning the Quran, you're in a different cultural world. It's worlds apart, and these people they come from they've grown up reading the Quran, that this is their religion, this is their beliefs, this is what makes them who they are. So when they saw this, it naturally, you know, incited violence, because of these people who've been living in the United States. Well,
we have a minute left, but if I ask you, what is the ramification going forward, especially in the Arab
regarding
world?
the Arab revolution that's going on? What do you feel? What is the Muslim community, and you're affiliated with an association at school? How do you guys feel about this revolution going on all across the Muslim world?
At first, I mean, it was an amazing thing to hear, because most of these countries within the Middle East are dictatorship now. They are authoritative governments, authoritative governments. And so, you know, these riots and essentially revolutions, as many people call, are means to democracy. It's a road to democracy and democratic freedoms, civil liberties, something that's been stressed for hundreds of years in the United States of America. And so that's why people in the Middle East want this. They're thirsting for this, and they've waited this long, and that Arab Spring really sparked it, and they're on that road to it, hopefully.
Thank you, Yahya, for being here and joining us with all of your great information.
Thank you, Yahya. We really appreciate you.
No, thank you.
Thank you for watching tonight. We'd like to thank you again for watching.
And we want to remind you, it's always controversial in America. Good night.